Hello and welcome to Creative Sparkle. My name's Holly and today we're doing an art journal prompt list. So grab your art supplies and let's get crafting. Hello and thank you for joining me today. So we're working in a recycled book this time, and that means I'm going to need to prime the page. So I'll just put some masking tape down and then we'll go to the first prompt, which is to prime your page as you wish. Obviously, if you don't need to prime your page because you're working in a normal sketchbook or something of that kind, then don't worry about it. I like to use gesso just so that I'm prepared for whatever medium I might be using on top of that. So once the page is primed, we'll go on to prompt number 2, which is to add a coat of your least used colour to your background. So I've chosen acrylic paint in the colour Cherry Red, and red is probably my least used colour, so I'm just going to do a flat red background for my page. But if you prefer, then you can use pattern paper or some tissue paper, something else that you have with your least used colour. I've just chosen acrylic paint so that I can have a full base background. So for prompt number 3, we're going to stamp over the background with a colour similar to your least used. So I'm using archival ink in the colour Sienna, and I'm going to use this stamp and just randomly stamp it over the background until I've completely covered it. If you don't want to cover it, that's fine, just do some random stamping here and there. So for prompt number 4, we're going to stick one or more long elements onto your page to add emphasis. So I found this lace and I'm going to use this sticking it across the page, and I'm also going to choose some ribbons, some materials, just so that I can have something that looks a bit more organised. I did find this white, I want to say ribbon, I'm not really sure what it's called, but I didn't like how white it was and I didn't think it went with the page very well, so I decided to colour it black. So I use some straighteners just to straighten out the materials that I have here because they've all got creases in, and I thought it would look tidier if everything was just sat well on the page. So to colour this, I'm going to use Distress Spray Stain in the colour Black Soot, and I'm going to spray over it and then just pop a glove on my hand just so I can make sure that it's absorbing all of the product that it can. And then once that's done, I'll just clean away that and give it a dry with the heat tool. If you don't have a heat tool, that's fine, you can let it dry naturally or use a hairdryer, whatever you prefer. And then once that's done, we'll get them straightened out again just so that it's got that nice flat laid. And I'm going to use some Mod Podge to stick down the lace, and later I actually decide to use some gel medium to start sticking things because using Mod Podge for that ribbon didn't really work out so well. It kind of came through a bit and looked a bit messy, so I decided to use the gel medium just to help sticking those down as well. So once that's all stuck down, I'll just trim the edges. Please don't mind the blurry camera, I'm not sure really what happened, but it's not going to last for the rest of the video, it will come back. So prompt number 5 is to use the same image or shape cut out many times to create a focal image. So I've actually chosen to use this cardstock that I have, and I'm going to cut out heart shapes, and I'm going to use those heart shapes to create a flower. So I'm just going to cut out as many hearts as I can with this punch that I have, and then once I have all the hearts cut out, we'll start working on the focal image, which is going to be a flower. So I'm just cutting out a circle that's going to be the base for the flower so that the hearts have something to rest on. I'm using normal PVA glue to stick those hearts down and then layering them on top of each other so that by the end all of the hearts, or the round part of the hearts, will look like flower petals. If you decide that you want your image to be 2D rather than 3D, you don't have to pile them up like I have done here and put layers on each other. You could create some kind of mosaic or create an image just from the shapes that you have. So for prompt number 6, we're going to emphasize or draw focus to some of the cutout shapes in your focal image. So again, I'm using the colour Black Soot, and I'm just taking a blending tool and going around the petals just so that they stand out a bit more. Once I finish adding in that ink, I'm going to use some Pearl Effects to add some colour to the centre of the flower so that it doesn't look just like things piled on top of each other, and it's got a centre to it, and it just gives it a bit more colour there as well. So I'm using the colour red in the Pearl Effects, or the Pearl Drops as you might call them, and I'm just going to add some dots around the middle. So that's the flower done, and I'm going to stick it down on the page now, just on the left hand side and the centre of the lace, just so that it looks like it's got a break in there. So now that step's complete, we'll move on to prompt number 7, which is to use the same shape or image but larger and then add it to the page. So obviously again I've gone for the hearts because I use those for the petals, and I'm again going to use a blending tool with the Black Soot just to go around the edges of the hearts, and I've cut them out in a bigger size as the prompt said. I'm just going to stick them over the page, as you can see where I've laid them out here. So again, I'm just using normal PVA glue to get that stuck down, and then we'll move on to the next prompt once those are stuck down, which is prompt number 8. Add a title suited to your page. So I've chosen to use these Ideology metallic stickers that I have, and I'm using 2 of them, so I'm going to lay them down where I think they're comfortable on the page. So the first one says listen to your heart, and the second one says believe in yourself. So once you're happy with your title, we'll move on to prompt number 9, which is use white to highlight some features throughout the spread. And I'm just using a white gel pen, and I'm going to put a little highlight on the hearts that we have there, and then some of the petals on the flower that I created. So for the 10th and final prompt, we have add a border to complete your page. So thinking about what kind of border I wanted, I found some lace, and it's a lovely small little lace, but again I decided that the colour wasn't right, so I got that Black Soot spray again and sprayed the lace like I did before with the other string, and I'll get that coloured, and then once it's dry I will stick it onto the page just to make a top and bottom border, and I'm going to leave the sides of the pages blank. So once that's all stuck down, well, I'll trim the edges off those pieces of lace hanging off the edge there, and that's the page finished. So I'll put photos at the end so you can see the finished result, and the full prompt list will be at the end of the video as usual. If you do decide to take part in the prompt list, please do tag me on Instagram with the hashtag Sparkle Prompts. Please like the video if you did enjoy it, press the subscribe button so you don't miss the next prompt list, and I will see you next time where we will turn your creative spark into creative sparkle. Bye!